Welcome to your weekly UAS news update. We have 5 stories this week, kind of a long one, but lots of information. The FAA dropped Section 2209 NPRM. That's a big deal. We've been waiting this for like a decade now. The public comment window is also closing for DJI's FCC covered list challenge. A record-breaking 218 drone incursions over wildfires last year. We don't like to hear that. ACSL is partnering with Draganfly. And then lastly, this is 7 years of uninterrupted drone news. We'll talk about that. Let's get to it. And first up this week, the FAA has finally filed its long overdue is an understatement, Section 2209 Notice of Proposed Rulemaking, or NPRM for short. This opens up a 60-day comment window that will determine how fixed-site facilities can apply for permanent drone restriction over their property. The 181-page rule creates a 14 CFR Part 74 framework that's new, with 2 tiers, a standard unmanned aircraft flight restriction and a Special Unmanned Aircraft Flight Restriction, so UAFR for short for those. The FAA proposes limiting eligibility to 16 critical infrastructure sectors, which could encompass more than 9,000 eligible facilities. But here's the important part for the drone industry. The proposed rule includes a transit lane for commercial operators, which is good news. Drones operating under Part 91, 107, 108, upcoming, 135, and 137 will be allowed to transit a standard UAFR if they broadcast remote ID, if they transit in the shortest practical time, and then if they notify the facility. Unfortunately, recreational flyers are not on that list, at least the way that we've read it so far. Also, this rule or proposed rule explicitly does not grant facility operators counter-drone authority, such as jamming or drone capture, which is interesting. It is strictly an airspace designation. In this case, we're working on the full-length video to explain a little bit more of this in detail. This dropped literally yesterday as we are recording this, so be sure that you're subscribed. We'll have more information. Next up, the deadline to submit a public comment on the FCC petition regarding the DJI placement on the covered list is rapidly approaching. That's May 11th, which is on Monday after you watch this. DJI is challenging the FCC's December 2025 decision that effectively blocks the authorization of new affected products for sale or for import into the United States. DJI also has some legal action in the U.S. Court of Appeal in the 9th Circuit. So far, we've seen more than 460 comments that have been submitted, and the Department of Defense has recently urged the FCC to reject DJI's petition. If you want your voice heard, you can file your comment through the FCC electronic comment filing submission before May 11. That is the deadline. Third up, a reminder that flying over emergencies has some serious consequences. This is from the U.S. Forest Service. They reported a staggering 218 drone sightings over active wildfires in 2025. This is not a good score. Higher is not better in this case. This is more than the previous 7 years combined 7 years. Most of these happened during the Eaton and the Palisade fires in LA, which saw 184 drone incursions, including the one that we reported on. That was in January 9th of 2025. Where a privately owned drone, or flown drone, actually collided with a Canadair CL-415 Super Scooper aircraft, punching a 3x6 hole on the left wing. The drone operator reportedly launched from a parking structure, lost sight of the drone, and then didn't know it hit the aircraft until the investigators tracked him down. He pleaded guilty, paid $65,000 in restitution, and then faces up to a year in federal prison. His defense argued that his DJI drone geofencing failed to stop him, which is not a defense. I hate to say it. Remember, DJI removed the mandatory geofencing enforcement from the consumer drone in early 2025, shifting to only having advisory warnings. If you rely entirely on software to keep you out of restricted airspace, you might actually find yourself in some major legal trouble like this guy did. And as always, please don't be that guy. Make sure that you check out the TFRs, tfr.fa.gov. Next up, Draganfly and ACSL signed an exclusive master distributor agreement on May 7 of 2026, making Draganfly the sole Canadian distributor of ACSL drone technology. The agreement also includes some technical integration work between the two companies, between their two platforms. The initial product offering is the ACSL Soten, which is a Japanese-built compact drone that has swappable payloads. Soten supports 4 interchangeable cameras, a 20-megapixel 1-inch range sensor with a mechanical shutter, the SAMO dual thermal optical system, a multispectral option as well, and then an optical zoom camera. It operates with the ACSL Titan controller, which has a 7-inch 1500 nit screen and then an IP54 rating as well. Under the integration component on the agreement, Draganfly, Apex, and the Commander 3XL drones will be made compatible with Soten's swappable payloads, which is really cool, and then the Titan ground controller as well, allowing operators to mix components across both manufacturers' systems. Soten joins Draganfly existing line of Apex, Commander XL, and then the heavy lift platform, which collectively can basically have a payload from 6.6 pounds all the way to 100 pounds, which I think is pretty cool. Cool partnership between two companies that are trying to make their things more compatible with each other. And then last up, today marks 7 years of uninterrupted drone news. We've covered a ton of ground since we started. Now we have over 460,000 students, over 1 million enrollments, including 148,000 Part 107 students, 61,000 free stickers that we've sent, which are going to continue thanks to the community donations that we're getting now. Over 28,000 active members in our community that we have online, and then over 365,000 free trust certificates issued, and then over 19,000 wing credits that have been issued through the FAA safety platform as well. The numbers keep going on, but thank you for all of your support. Could not have done it without you. I actually started this news update before we even had a company name. Just wanted to keep you guys up to date, and I think we've done a great job at doing that. So we'll see you on Monday for the live, on post-flight in the premium community as well, where I'm sure this week is going to be a lot of sharing of opinions that are not always suitable for YouTube. Hopefully none of this makes it to...
it's not going to go on YouTube, that's for sure.
You have a great weekend. We'll see you then.